What's going on, Drax Art? First time chatter. Hello, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Dragon, what's going on? Say hello if you're in the chat room. Lukari, what's up, man? Ozzy, what's going on? Yes, sir. I'm live and alive. I've been... Bro, when was my last stream? It was like a whole... Was it a week ago? No. It was like last Monday, I think, yeah. Not this Monday, but like the Monday before that. Damn, yeah. It was the Star Fox Assault stream. I canceled the Wednesday that same week, and then I canceled the Monday. Damn. It's been a wild ride. Did you finally move out of Solar? We moved back to Solar. We were fine for like a little bit, and now it's fucked up again. It's not as bad as the first time. Well, I've been playing Assault a little more, and my opinion has certainly developed a little bit. We'll get into it. I think I mentioned it that there's this German podcast I'm gonna be on in like a couple days, and I gave all of the Star Fox games a quick whirl. It's not Hitstop. Hitstop is my own podcast. Hitstop FM, great podcast. You should listen to it if you speak German. No, it wasn't this podcast. It's like one of the insert Moin. Moin is like a sort of northern German. Yeah. It's a northern German. What's up, René? Sunrise Parabellum, what's up? It's a northern German kind of way to say hello. England is winning? No. See, here's the thing with the World Cup. Shit. God damn it. Obviously, I'm sort of torn because I'm like, okay, which one is more racist, right? Obviously, Argentina is very Nazified. But England is like pretty racist too. So it's really hard to root for either. I was like sort of, see, Messi got fouled like pretty badly like a couple times. I was like, you know what? He's the GOAT. You think you can touch the GOAT? I'm for Argentina now. I watched the first half of the match. Is literally Netanyahu's favorite thus far. Oh my god, so far. Well, can't have them all. Anyway, this is the podcast I'm gonna be on sometime this week, I think. Should be. And I gave all the Star Fox games a quick play. So I didn't play them extensively, but they're fresh enough in my mind that I feel comfortable doing a little tier list. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, man, I didn't follow the World Cup that closely, to be honest with you. And like, I'm kind of, in retrospect, I'm like, I wish I'd kind of watched it more, because like, I watched the game last night. It was pretty cool, actually. Obviously, I was like in favor of France for Lisan Al Gaib. He was fucking Timothy was in the audience, and he was like, he was mad coping. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. France did not win, so yeah. Raiden, hey, what's up? My method is imperialism is done per square. Kaiba, that's so funny. It's fire. Okay, man. Okay, I gotta update the shareholder list. Hang on. We're down on shareholders again. I need to update my sounds, by the way. I'm not super happy with my sounds, with my soundboard. Hang on, I did the calculus today. We got 16 people on Twitch, 16 subscribers. We got 7 people on Ko-fi still, that's 23. And I think we got 7 YouTube members, so that's 30 shareholders. Wait. The hell? Let me... Dude, this shit is never fucking accurate. If you want to become a shareholder, consider becoming a Twitch subscriber. Yes, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the Rainbow video. Consider becoming a Twitch subscriber or a YouTube member or a Ko-fi member. Any of the above. It's the best way to support me. I got a Twitch payout the other day. I'm at the point now where from Twitch, I get like $50 every month. Like pretty reliably. With YouTube, it's like we're getting there. So, and then Ko-fi, you have to imagine I'm getting like about $30. Like, if I'm getting like $150 just through my content creation work every month, I think that's not too bad. From the German podcast, I'm getting like, I think I'll see the full number next month. I should be getting close to 100. So that's like $250. I got this like editing gig that I do for a friend. If I can like pile on one more sort of part-time job, I think I'll be good for a little bit, yeah. We'll see. But yeah, please consider supporting me. Guys, I'm actually working on a new series. It's gonna be free for everybody. And it's like very early. It's very, very early. It's not coming that soon, but like I'm trying to produce. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna soft announce it here. I'm gonna call it Friday Gaming, and it's basically gonna be quick little recommendations / reviews for games every week. And the plan is like I'm gonna produce a couple of them ahead of time, give myself some leeway, and then release them like once a week. And then the plan is like I'm gonna use that to plug the backlog battle series as well. I'm gonna be like, hey, if you want more of this, if you want more kind of loose thoughts, check out my series Backlog Battle, where I review all the games that are cleared off my backlog in a given month. If you don't know, this is Backlog Battle. You can watch it by becoming a YouTube member or by being a Twitch subscriber or a Ko-fi member. And if that's the case, then you will unlock the Habibi content channel. And that's where you'll find all the videos. So you're not left out in the cold. It doesn't matter which support platform you use. They're like, just use the one that's most convenient for you. Obviously on Twitch, if you're Twitch sub, you don't get Twitch ads, so that's nice. Twitch has been like the most successful for me so far, so if I can grow here a little bit, that'd be cool. We're kind of Habibi Wardle. That's not a thing. You see the RE 30th anniversary fan survey. I don't really care aside from the fact they allow people to say they prefer classic members. I did see somebody post about that. I think Head Falls Off. They're a pretty cool account. I follow them.
Fox McCloud $25 says, to my greatest fan.
Oh shit, what? Fox McCloud? Damn, $25. Thank you so much. I am your greatest fan. Gamer Habibi tier list, Beatrice Maker, what's up? I do think if they get a significant, I feel like that could be a good like avenue for a spin-off. I think Capcom, they probably see the potential there. I would be surprised if they didn't think, oh yeah, that's an avenue to go down. Guys, by the way, is the music too quiet? It's like pretty quiet when I speak in my when I'm looking at my display. It looks like it's pretty quiet, but I don't know. Star Wars Guard is going to S tier. Macaroni style. You think it's fine? Okay, cool. I think it's better. It's better if it's too quiet than too loud. Okay, guys. Cool. So the plan is I'll give a couple personal updates. We'll talk about the Rain World video by Mark MSX. Ari always changes after 3 entries, so RE10 likely won't be first person like the last 3. Hello, DL, by the way. That's so funny. I wonder if the Requiem style is going to be the style going forward. If they're going to try to mix first person and third person going forward. So, man, what's up? Hell yeah. I'm going to start the Sin and Punishment arc at some point. I've played them very casually in the past, but I think SMP1 seems like a very viable 1cc. Yeah. So we'll do that, and then we'll get into the Star Fox tier list. Now, personal update number 1. This one's kind of serious, actually. I was diagnosed with H. pylori, the H. pylori stomach virus. So my mom, yeah. For those who don't know, H. pylori is very, very common in the general population. And, well, I hope not. I hope I don't got stomach ulcers. For most people, it is mostly asymptomatic. I'm seeing here the Google AI overview says roughly half to 2/3 of the. Well, that's a fuck ton, dude. So a ton of people have it. That's not too uncommon. The thing is that, number one, my mom was dealing with it a couple years ago. It manifested as, do you say gastritis or gastritis? I don't fucking know. So that's what my mom was dealing with, and she went on this pretty hardcore antibiotics treatments to get rid of the virus, right? I don't know. The other layer to this is that my grandma from my mom's side, unfortunately, she passed away from stomach cancer, like 6 years ago. The only cause of stomach. Okay. See, Ozzy, that's the thing, right? So we have a history of like sort of stomach ulcers in my family. My mom was like struggling with it. The thing is, I actually did sort of a self-test like 2 years ago, I think, and it was positive, right? Because my mom was like kind of on my case about it. She was like really beating me over the head, like, hey, you should get this checked out. But I was like, whatever, who cares? And it was positive, and even then, because the virus is so common, I figured, okay, do I even have to treat it if I'm asymptomatic, right? Like, is it worth doing like this insane antibiotics routine? And like doing this like really heavy sort of like treatment on my body, kind of, right? So that's what I was skeptical about. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go to the doctor that she went to that helped her. And I just wanted her opinion, right? I just wanted the doctor's opinion. Because, again, it seems like it's a little split in the medical community, how you should kind of handle it. I've had doctors tell me, like, if you're asymptomatic, don't worry about it. Well, this doctor told me, no, if you have it, we should definitely take care of it. And we did another test, and I definitely have it. So I'm probably going to start this treatment very soon. Probably, like, on Monday. I have another appointment on Friday where she's gonna give me the whole, like, prescription and, like, the whole fucking plan, the whole schedule, I guess. I'm gonna have to take 12 pills a day for 10 days. It's pretty hardcore. And then I'll have to take, like, fucking stomach acid blockers and shit for a month after as well. And I'll have to do a colonoscopy. Which, I mean, I'm 30, I'm 31. This is my first colonoscopy, right? I'm pretty young for a colonoscopy. Yeah. V, what's up? Biggest thing to avoid is uncooked, undercooked foods as much. Yeah. Yeah, I was told it can definitely affect the efficacy of the diet. Of the treatment if you're not dieting properly during that time. So, and it is pretty strict about when you take the pills as well. Yeah, I just figured, you know what? I'm unemployed right now. I don't have a super busy schedule. I'm home most of the time. So I might as well just take care of it now. Just pull through. Oh, wow. Senior thesis on GI. That's crazy. Yeah, I think with the colonoscopy, I'm just, like, mostly worried about, like, I can't eat or whatever the day before. I'm like, oh god, it sounds so annoying. Yeah, I figured I'll get it out of the way now, get it out of my system, especially because Gamescom is like end of August, right? And obviously I want to be hanging out with people and stuff. And I want to be able to eat, so I'm just gonna do it now, and then I'm good. So I'm not a guy who has a lot of stomach issues. A lot of my stomach issues in the past just came from the fact that I didn't know that I was lactose intolerant. And once I knew, I was like, yeah, okay. And then, I mean, and whenever I have issues, I know why it happened. It's like there's an obvious logical sort of, okay, I ate this and that, and then that's what caused it. I don't really get heartburn very much, that sort of shit. I think she asked me when was the last time you had heartburn. I was like 6 years ago. It's funny because like I went to KFC with Yulia and I had it like while we were there, and like that's why it's like such a distinct memory. Yeah. So I guess the main thing I'm saying is like, guys, cross your fingers for me. Hope that the colonoscopy comes out good. You know, that they don't find anything crazy. That I'm healthy down there. I mean, I don't know. It'd be crazy if I had stomach ulcers already, right? God, oh god. See, that's the thing. I'm not scared about the treatment or whatever. I'm scared about if they find shit, you know? If I'm already cooked, you know? God. But I guess it is better to know now than no, to know too late. This is a relatively soft, so it would be a risky procedure. Yeah. Kruba, what's up? No, I'm just reacting to the Electric Underground review. Thank you, Chili. What's up, Wooden Bench? Thank you so much. Bruh. Yeah. I know. The thing I'll have to ask my doctor on Friday is like, okay, when do I do the colonoscopy? When's the best time to do it? Is it after I'm done with the treatment? She was a little unclear on that, but yeah. Thank you, macaroni salad. Yeah, I mean, my mom... so fucking true. My mom is like in her 50s. And, I mean, she's fine. You know, she doesn't have any... She didn't have... There was, like, signs that it could get worse, but, like, she caught it in time. It was fine, you know? So... I'm hopeful that I'll be okay. And it's good that I'm doing it now. You know, imagine if I'm like on a full schedule, I'm working like every day, I'm going out, I'm just moving and grooving. And the idea of like taking 12 pills a day on a schedule, on a busy schedule, is kind of crazy, right? So it's better that I'm doing it like when I'm just by myself at home. I mean, Yulia's also going home like very soon, end of next week. So I won't have to like worry about we don't have to worry about like eating in a way that like is compatible with both of us. So yeah, that's the big personal update, and I guess I'm saying it because like number one, you know, it's personally kind of interesting, but also I don't know how this will affect like content and streaming. We'll see about that. So yeah, they send the camera down your throat, but you should get anesthesia. Fire. Yeah, okay. Second personal update. This one's funny. I had a little spat with JP Kellams. JP Kellams, if Kruba would really enjoy this. Kruba, okay, sorry, I've been meaning to tell you this. Pressing thumbs, that you don't say that in English. You only say that in German. What you mean is crossing your fingers. That's the English expression. Okay, so JP Kellams. Darfst du? Digga. Okay, so, I just thought this was really funny. So JP Kellams, obviously a lot of y'all will know him. He used to work at Capcom and Platinum. He was a pretty close collaborator with Hideki Kamiya. was deeply involved with the English scripts for Bayonetta, or I should just say the scripts, right? Like obviously they were written for English first. So it was sort of, okay, Kamiya gave, like, this is the script, this is kind of the idea, and then JP Kellams, like, made the actual English script out of it. It's not quite a translation because it was so, like, tied together, kind of. And he was, like, producer on Scalebound as well, and the fallout from that clearly deeply affected him, right? And he kind of went around, did a couple of different things after that. It's all cool, you know. He was always someone who I respected a lot. His sort of career path, I thought, seemed just very fun, you know. And oh god, I'm out of. My throat is like a little sore, and I wanted to take like one of those little fucking tablets, whatever. Okay. Anyway, so the thing is that in recent years, Drill Dancer was up. He's just been more and more like neo-lip coded in this very weird way, and he would like, oh my god. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, he will comment anytime that a thing is like slightly too woke, right? And he'll say, "Oh my god, y'all are being so fucking annoying," right? And this is a perfect example. Dear Passengers, this is a new Friendsoft game, right? Blah blah blah. Game apparently makes an Epstein plus P. Diddy joke, and he's like making fun of the fact that people are losing their minds. Bro, I have not seen a single person lose their minds over this game. Everybody just thought this game was funny, and they're down to play it. That's what I saw, right? I know everybody's timeline is different, everybody's algorithm is different, but then, if you know that everybody's algorithm is different, then why are you making fucking tweets like this, you know? Oh my god, it's so fucking annoying, it's so stupid. And, it is also, well, he quote RT'd me. It all started, there was this Games Done Quick situation. Games Done Quick, y'all know Games Done Quick, I don't need to explain it. They were supposed to have a sponsored stream with SNK. Oh my god, Citizen Vigilante, oh, so fire. I want to say Army Hammer and Jonathan Majors, right? Any doubts? See, here's the thing, right? When you hear, okay, they did like all the sexual assault or whatever. Yeah, JP Kellams, he was originally shouldn't do what's up. He was originally with Clover, especially. He worked on God Hand. Here's the thing. We hear, okay, Jonathan Majors, he did this like crazy sexual assault or domestic abuse or whatever, and it's fucked up, right? And there might be a part of you that like has some doubt, like, oh, maybe he didn't do it. I don't know. I'm not that type of person, right? I tend to believe victims when they speak out, right? But let's just entertain the thought, right? Like, oh, okay. Maybe there's something we don't know, blah. Maybe it doesn't represent this person holistically, blah, blah. Well, guess what? When someone like him then later goes and does like a movie with the Daily Wire, that's like fucking racist propaganda, anti-immigrant propaganda. I don't know. What was the one? Wait. Daily Wire. Do we still not know what the fuck? Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah. Like, if you then go and immediately have a conservative kind of turn, I'm like, okay, you're just revealing your character, right? Same with Army Hammer, who now does this, like, anti-immigrant fucking movie with Uwe Boll after he was outed as a sex pest, you know? It's like, bro, okay. See you, René. And dude, with Army Hammer, it really sucks because I love Call Me by Your Name. It's such a great film. God damn it. Anyway, I don't even. Dude, we went on a whole tangent. Anyway, GDQ, they were supposed to have a sponsored stream with SNK. SNK obviously is owned by the Saudi Public Investment Fund, which is very bad, right? The Saudi Arabian government, they persecute gay people. They, just women's rights are very poor. They literally use slavery very, very extensively. Use slavery is kind of, I'm sorry if that's not the most politically correct way to say that, but you get my point. It's fucking bad, right? And now, again, SNK is fully owned by them, and that's been sort of a weird thing to navigate for a lot of people. Like, okay, like, how the fuck do we deal with this? Yeah, they're like still inactive. I can't even call conflict with Yemen because like they're just bombing the shit out of it. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. And for a lot of people, it's been really weird to navigate the reality. They're like, okay, SNK, they're still making cool games. You have all these developers that are like, really probably don't have anything to do with that, right? Or they don't want anything to do with that, but they're just sucked up by this like conglomerate, by this bad entity. Oh my god, right? So I think it's very valid that a lot of people are just hardline saying, okay, I will not work with this company, I will not involve myself with this company, right? And when Games Done Quick, when they announced that they would be doing a sponsored SNK stream, there was some backlash. Not gonna lie, I guess the backlash was not on Twitter like that, because they only had 25 replies, right? Maybe it was more on Blue Sky, I don't know. Anyway, they decided to cancel the stream after the backlash came in. And guess what? Our friend JP Kellams, he was like, actually, did you know that you're actually relying on Saudi Arabia for traveling? Right? He's doing that whole fucking shit. And I love that he has to say, hey, by the way, I'm not MAGA. Dennis, what's up? Like, if you feel the need to say this, to give this disclaimer, maybe something's going wrong. You know? And then Kruger also gave him some pushback. My reply, and I think this sums it up pretty well. My protested by their guests too. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's exactly it. I try to really sum it up. My whole impression of JP kind of over the years. You've turned into someone who will scream hypocrisy every time someone dares to believe a better world is possible. And it's honestly sad and pathetic to watch. I used to respect you. And then he actually quote retweeted me. And then gave this whole spiel, blah, 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 blah. Have you considered doing other things other than complain about Games Done Quick, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bitch, I do those things. I do canvas. I do vote. I do go to pro pastime rallies. What the fuck is wrong with you? And then, yeah. So, I don't know, funny little spat. I just stopped replying at that point, because, I mean, he gives me this whole speech about, like, oh, the beauty of free speech, you can tune out whenever you want. I was like, okay, bitch, I'm tuning out. Fuck you. That's so fucking stupid. I don't know what happened to him, dude. It's very weird. It's very, very weird. He is also... I mean, he does the whole thing of, like, always defending AI and always defending, like, monetization practices and blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I'm not going to restream the game because FIFA, they will literally knock on my door and execute me. But damn. Shire, Blue Sky. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. Now, I'll get a little more water. And then we'll talk about this Electric Underground video. We're not going to live react to it because it's too long, but... Yeah. See, I think if you are a big company, if you are some type of organization, movement, whatever, I think you do have a responsibility to like be more picky about your associations. I think on a personal level, I mean, Patrick Miller wrote this whole article about where he sort of made this equivalence. Okay, someone who waited for the Mark of the Wolf sequel their whole life. To them, that game is probably way more important than the $60 going to the Saudi prince, right? I'm kind of sympathetic toward that, you know? I'm not completely unsympathetic toward that type of shit. I sort of get it. I don't have a hardline stance when it comes to like screaming at people to boycott shit. My stance is more like, okay, I'm gonna advocate for why I think this is a good idea, right? I'm gonna advocate for, okay, I think you should cancel Game Pass for these reasons. I feel like I achieve more with that than by screaming at people. But I also do understand the anger, so yeah. Okay, let me get some water. See, that's the thing, I saw somebody ask if it's vibe coded, and they were kind of evasive about it, I think. Like, nobody really gave a clear answer. I guess it is vibe coded. If that's the case, that's really disappointing. I'll say about the vibe coding shit. So there was one recent example that I think is maybe nice to know about for context. Because, like, I'm also... Obviously, I want good ports of those games, right? And I don't want the well to be poisoned. Dude, I got some fucking insects on my wall. Oh my god. Yeah. Now, I think it's worth stressing... Okay, look, this is the current Street Fighter decompilation port, right? And it's based on the PlayStation 2 version of the game. Now, this port is not vibe coded in its current state. It is it was done very judiciously, it works very well, it's awesome. The thing about it is obviously the PlayStation 2 version has some differences compared to the arcade version. And the team behind this decom, they know, okay, this is the most playable version, right? We're not relying on emulation anymore. We don't have the extra lag. It's going to play really fucking good, but obviously nobody's going to accept it if it doesn't have parity with the arcade version, right? And if also, it needs to be compatible with the arcade version. The plan long term is to add matchmaking to this version of Third Strike. And to have the net play then work with Fightcade as well, right? That's the plan. And for that to work, the game itself needs to be identical in gameplay to the arcade version. So, the lead developer, he was kind of going through it manually. He was going through it manually, like comparing the code and realizing, oh my god, this is gonna take forever. Like, I'm not gonna be able to do this in my lifetime. It's too much work. And he decided, you know what? I'm gonna use Codex AI to like do the comparison shit. But I'm gonna check all the changes that are suggested by Codex manually, right? And to me, I'm like, this is a perfect example for why this type of shit can be useful, and maybe why we shouldn't decry it, like, instantly. It is a tool. It's just that you need people to actually use the tool judiciously and actually use it, with intent and purpose and, like, not in a shitty, stupid, unethical way. And I guess I'm just a little scared that the backlash toward LLMs is going to be so automatic and so based on like reflex and reactionary in a way that's maybe not always fair. You know, that's kind of what I'm scared about. Because like clearly this type of project, it's just not feasible otherwise, right? So I think the vibe coding is bad, but there's ways to use the tools that are beneficial. And I hope the nuance there can be like something that people accept. Yeah. But first things first, yeah, there needs to be good legislation and laws in place to knock it out. That's exactly it. I'm like shocked. There was a story today that okay. 100% of Japanese game devs use AI. I'm sort of shocked that all these companies are so comfortable jumping into that shit head first, you know? When they don't know what the training data is, when they don't know what they're technically, like, infringing on in terms of copyright, it is kind of insane. See, I don't... Dude... Where do you draw the line, bro? Like, it's like, okay, if I use the algorithmic tools in Photoshop to draw my image, right? I use the magic eraser, I use the extension feature, I use the magnetic lasso, that sort of shit, right? Where it detects shapes automatically. Like, is that anti-art? I don't know, dude. It's... I feel like... I'm willing to accept the premise that, like, code is art, right? You're making decisions about the art in the code. I think that's totally... To me, that's completely possible, right? But, like, is any type of assistance... Like, at what level of assistance is it anti-art, you know? I feel like people, like, they really shoot from the hip way too quickly without... What the... A selected group of Japanese dollars for a survey. Okay. Wait, let's see. How many people did they ask? I don't know. I just think, see, I'm anti-vibe coding. I'm pro, okay, you check the thing and you use the tool intentionally to say, to make a decision, right? To make a decision on, okay, this is how it should be, right? To even see, I mean, the best way to use LLMs is like sort of as a search engine, right? Or as an encyclopedia that you can interact with much more organically, right? It is genuinely useful to say, hey, okay, like, there's just so much shit you can't really Google, you know? And to get, like, a little start with an LM, I've had situations where that's useful, genuinely, right? And I think, I mean, I think the environmental impact is definitely something we should explore more. I need to read up on that more. I think my current stance is, like, LLMs, mostly good. Image generation, video generation, all that shit, fucking bad, throw it in the trash. Completely worthless. I do not see the point. It's insanely stupid and wasteful and ugly and shitty and it's just bad. Cause like, I feel like that is a different thing. Like, okay, I'm creating something from scratch versus I'm trying to refine something or like make something sort of gradually, right? If you're generating an image and then pasting over it like slightly to make it like less bad, to me that's still bad, you know? It should be the other way around, right? You should make something and then possibly use the tool to like make certain adjustments, right? And I feel like with image generation, that's just never gonna happen. Dylan, what's up? We're still in the intro section. We're about to do the Electric Underground bullshit. It's good knowing Ronaldo has never won a World Cup. Fuck Ronaldo, dude. Fuck Ronaldo. AR on our own. I mean, it literally has no soul, right? It literally has no soul. I just don't understand the appeal of I'm gonna let a computer make all the decisions for me. You know, that's the only way to use it for like visual art. There's no other for like generative AI, right? That type of shit. There's no path forward for it really. So it's bad. It's bad. Dude, also, yeah, Beatrice Maker, I feel so bad for Gen Z because you have to think it's like COVID, TikTok, and AI back to back to back. Oh my god, dude, this generation is so fucked, bro. Holy shit, I feel so bad for them. Okay. God, dude, I'm like screaming my lungs out. Nay, hey, what's up? We're just covering some news, just basic stuff. Okay, let's get into this shit. I'm gonna record this for YouTube. Oh yeah. Yeah, for those who don't know, in Germany there's like a whole push around mandatory conscription because apparently we're like super threatened by Russia or something. Russia, who will not be able to mobilize for like the next 20 years and who like permanently fuck themselves by attacking Ukraine, right? Oh my god, I'm so scared. That's so fucking stupid, dude. Oh my god, that's so fucking stupid. Yeah, I know. This is so bad. That's so bad. That's so stupid. And it's like all these old ass people who will not have to go to war, you know, when the mandatory conscription happens. Just advocating for their fucking children to be murdered on the front lines. This is so stupid. Okay. Let's get into lighter stuff. Hello, YouTube. Say hello, YouTube, in the chat if you want to be in the video. Okay. Mark MSX has dropped once again. The Electric Underground is back with a review for Rain World, which is not the first game you would think of when you think Mark MSX. Obviously, pretty rapidly growing channel, pretty, especially in terms of just relevancy, I think. He's one of the main guys kind of affecting the discourse I see in my bubble every day. And a lot of his ideas have really spread to the masses in a big way. Which I find overall good because he does value very classic game design fundamentals. I just said Rain World is not a game you would really think of when you think of the Electric Underground, because most analysis that I've seen for it, because, for example, there is a Matthew Matosa's video on Rain World that just recommends the game. And he looks at it much more holistically, where, okay, the systemic and mechanical aspects of this game hold you into this larger experience that expresses a lot about life and what it means to be an animal, to be part of nature, that sort of thing. And that's very resonant for me. But I think having an analysis like purely on the merit of, okay, how is this as a mechanical sort of challenging universe, that is interesting. One sort of idea that I've seen in my bubble a lot is like, okay, is this maybe close-minded? Because clearly it is the only thing Mark really cares about, right? This idea of at every turn he will ask, okay, how can we push the challenge further, right? This is something I just use the word challenge. This is something that in my master's thesis I've called push and pull, right? I push and pull, to really briefly summarize it, is the idea, is this quality in games where the more, let me rephrase. Push and pull, the way I define it, is a quality in games where the more express it is in a given game, the more the player will have to navigate the sort of dense web of interacting systems and interacting elements, right? And that creates a very specific flavor or quality of challenge. I think that the reason I wrote my thesis about that is because I feel like that is really the thing that people are really grasping for when they make these types of videos and make these types of arguments. I think it is deeper than pure, like, margin of error, like how many paths will get me to the goal. Obviously, there's this idea of depth as well that I talked with Celia Wagger about the other day. I came up with this concept of push and pull because I feel like there's something more to it, right? There needs to be. It's not just about how purely hard a thing is. There needs to be this kind of deeper sense. So, man, yeah, the amount of permutations, God. Okay, this won't be part of the video. I will cut this out. I've actually let a couple of y'all read my thesis. And I haven't spread it around very widely. I haven't made a video about it. And it would be useful to have it out there more widely because I could discuss the concept a little more easily that way. Yeah, friction, I feel like that's another thing. Thank you, Lucario. Yeah, I'm looking forward to your thoughts. The reason I haven't shared it more widely is because, you know, I got a really strong grade for it. I got a really, really good grade at the end. There was an earlier stage of the thesis where I shared it with somebody who I was, like, kind of close to. I shared it with them for feedback, and they absolutely tore it apart. And they really did it in a way that was, like, very snide and very condescending and belittling and demeaning, and that was super unnecessary, and especially given the fact that at the time, I was, like, very visibly struggling with it, very, like, vulnerable about that, and just not feeling great about it, right? So the fact that they would tear me down like that just felt insanely shitty, and that, like, it permanently scarred that relationship that we had. And it got to the point where I just got really hesitant to share it. I really lost my confidence there a little bit. I think with, like, I guess I'm telling y'all this to, like, to give more context for why. No, it was not my supervisor, no. It was not my supervisor. They were not involved in, like, any official capacity at all. Yeah. The reason I'm telling you all that is because obviously I'm always talking around this concept, and I imagine it's, like, really annoying as an audience member to see, like, okay, what the fuck is this thing? Like, shouldn't you have made a video about this already? I should have, but, like, I don't feel super good about it, and yeah, I have this, like, this sort of hesitancy and this lack of confidence with regard to just academia in general, right? I love the academic world. I love the idea of, like, really backing up your shit. But that event it got to the point where I just couldn't comfortably call myself an academic. You know, I just didn't feel confident about it anymore. And that's why YouTube is like a better outlet, because like everybody kind of understands that's a little less formal, right? So I won't let that totally sway my work. But like, I mean, the script that I've been working on that I've told a couple people about, I'm happy with where it's going. It's far from done. It needs much more work. However, I'm already thinking, okay, you know, I feel like this would be a good script to give people for feedback. And I just don't know who I would give it to at this point. Because, yeah, that's exactly it, Dennis. That's exactly it. Because like that person that I just talked about would have been like a candidate, right? But like now that has happened, I would never give them anything in. Like, like not in a million years, honestly. And when I think sort of with the rest of my bubble, I can think of a couple of people where like, yeah, I feel like if I gave it to them, they would just be like, cool, thumbs up is good, right? I feel like it's gonna be really hard to find the line of, okay, useful feedback, not just glazing me, but also not being a fucking asshole. I don't know. So it's been tough, dude. It's been fucking tough. I can't lie. It's been a weird thing to deal with. I was really going through it like earlier this year. Yeah. God. So sorry for that tangent. I feel like I guess it's been like really weighing on me, and I just wanted to like vent somewhere about it. Yeah, I just wanted to let it out and like have y'all kind of understand a little bit where I'm coming from. Yeah. I will say they did say to me, oh, in my area, it's common to format feedback that way. And I'm like, why the fuck are you... why the fuck are you lying? Like, I refuse to believe that you would write that in any other context, yeah. It's so fucking stupid. Anyway. Okay. Let me look at my notes a little bit. So I'm gonna pick up the video again here. I'm gonna cut this whole talk. Okay. So about this push and pull thing. At some point I probably will make a video about this because like it is just too relevant. But I'm not fully ready to do so yet, to really fully deploy it. The general definition that I gave for push and pull in my thesis was, I'm going to read it to you. Push and pull is a quality exhibited by games describing the density of interrelated game elements and how granularly they affect each other in context with a stated goal. A higher degree of push and pull should produce a finer range of possible deviation from one's goal, and more abstractly, a kind of challenge where the player navigates a dense balance of inputs and outputs. So, this idea that you have a lot of granular, kind of nuanced elements that are constantly sort of interacting with each other and in conversation with each other, I guess. And the fact that it is so nuanced and so interactive, that is what creates the challenge, right? I think that is the big thing that everybody in our bubble has been like kind of grasping for, right? And I think that is everything that Mark says is like, okay, how do we raise the push and pull? Every time he makes any suggestion about any game, it's like, how do we raise push and pull, right? That's the one only thing he cares about. And personally, that's not, I mean, even as someone who wrote a thesis about that, I would say, okay, that's not how I look at games, right? I do look at games more holistically. I do have a wider appreciation for the type of shit that the medium can do. However, I don't think this makes Mark like useless as a critic. I think there is sort of an inclination to say, okay, I don't relate to this perspective, and I think it's kind of crazy that he doesn't appreciate other types of games. However, I mean, that's none of our business, right? He's just his own person, and it's totally fair. And the question is like, is he useful as a critic? And I would say overall, yes, right? It is useful to have somebody be so specific and so particular about one type of thing, so we can get really in-depth about that one type of thing. Now, that being said, I still think he has some issues with this general approach to reviews. And they do kind of heavily manifest in this one. I mean, number one, the constant appeals like against IGN and GameSpot. Bro, at this point we can make a drinking game out of it, you know? Like, take a fucking shot every time he dunks on IGN, on a 10-year-old IGN review, right? Yeah, that's the thing. The ending of Aladici, what's up, by the way? The ending of Rain World is like one of the most powerful things about it to me. I had... Like, it was such an insanely resonant experience, and I don't want to spoil it. And, part of me is like, bro, it is kind of crazy that you can't appreciate it. That is kind of nuts. However, it doesn't really matter to the review, right? It doesn't matter to the usefulness of the review. So not too pressed about that. He has a specialized perspective, yeah, Dylan, I think that's fair. Yeah, the IGN GameSpot shit, dude. It's, Celia has talked about this. It just gives Mark a little bit of a chud vibe, you know? I would not be shocked if people come to this review and they think, he's giving kind of like anti-woke vibes a little bit. And I don't even think he is like a conservative or a reactionary. The thing is, the way he talks about other people's reviews is literally reactionary, right? And the way, I mean, Ozzy, I think you said this on Twitter as well. The way he structures his thoughts has to always be in response to a thing. So, look at all the inferior design decisions in Super Metroid, and look how Rain World improves them. I think in a way this can actually be useful. I don't think this is like necessarily totally a bad approach. I just feel like it does expose kind of a structural weakness in your writing, you know? If you can't derive your arguments from first principles primarily, and instead you always have to like look at super tangential cherry-picked examples for things, I think that makes your argument a little flimsy, right? It's the fact that he talks unscripted and inserts horrible meme edits makes him look worse. His editing style is so funky. I don't get it. Like, these like super close-ups and like stretched and like all these weird filters over it is fucking wild to watch. Yeah, I think I agree with Celia that it's very important to signal your politics. You know, it's very important to signal, hey, I'm not a chud. Yeah. Zoltan, what's up? So that's one thing. And I think where it really manifests, and this is my main critique. This is my main critique of this video. And like, if I think he's sort of hinted at this idea like a couple times, and then this video really kind of crystallized and made me think, okay, I think this is a real flaw with this worldview with games, honestly. He constructs a lot of his arguments around the idea of player motivation, right? And he will make the argument that, oh, in terms of motivation, something like permadeath or like a survival-focused game is much stronger than like patching the game up in some other way, right? Is much stronger than like constantly giving rewards or giving score or blah blah blah. And I feel like that's a fundamental flaw with thinking about games in general. I think the way we talk about games for the longest time has been centered around the player experience, right? We center our conversation of a game or our discussion of a game around the way the player experiences it, right? That seems on the surface like it makes sense. However, the more you think about it, the more it doesn't make sense, right? Because, like, guess what? You can really only talk about your specific personal subjective experience and whatever you, like, anecdotally or statistically know, right? And if we take Mark's example here of saying, okay, permadeath, the threat of permadeath, right? A survival-focused game that's a much more successful motivator or much better motivator or whatever. Again, he really specifically, explicitly uses the idea of psychology, right? He makes that claim. He says it's more successful or preferable or whatever. And I'm like, bro, literally the statistics you're citing in the same video say the opposite, right? This is a game with steep survival punishment and steep survival gameplay, and it did not review well, as you say in your review, right? Whereas games that are more consistently rewarding and less punishing, clearly they motivate a higher number of players, right? So in that sense, your argument doesn't work, right? If you're arguing, if you're justifying the idea on the basis of player psychology, then you would have to actually use real statistics, right? You can make the claim that this is the better way to design the game based on how it motivates players, because the reality of how players are motivated literally contradicts that point, you know? I think another really bad culprit with this is Under the Mayo, who I think overall is a much weaker critic than Electric Underground. Like, in fairness, I think Electric Underground, his videos are much better. But like, so much of Under the Mayo's videos will be about, okay, the easy mode in Sifu is too easy, you can just mash through it, and that's why this is actually horrible design, because it will teach players the wrong lessons. And I'm like, bro, you're saying this based off of purely anecdotal evidence, right? You're hinging your main argument around how does this game introduce the average player of the game, right? And make the claim, oh, this is bad because it does it poorly. But, like, you're not actually proving that it does it poorly, because you can't, right? You can't prove that it actually works poorly because you don't have the statistics to back that up. And I would make the argument that we should just move away from that entirely, right? We should justify our ideas based on the merit of the idea and not based on, like, some abstract notion of psychology, right? And that's why with the push and pull shit, personally, I very explicitly said, yeah, I'm staying away from that. Yeah, this is not about motivation. This is not about how things appear on the surface. It's just about what's inside the game, right? And I feel like we need to obviously, psychology and, like, player guidance and conveyance, those are important. That is game design, right? Those are important aspects of game design. But I feel like we need to reel things back a little bit and approach it a little more cautiously, right? We shouldn't take the psychological aspects of games so for granted. That's my main critique of the Mark video and his approach in general. I feel like if he justified the idea on the basis of, like, well, stakes are good, run-based games are good, stakes are good because you have to be consistently good at the game over a stretch of time, right? That's like, okay, like, you could say that argument is not that convincing, but it is arguing from first principles. It's not this abstract thing of, like, oh, well, this could be more motivating, or this feels more tangible, blah, blah, blah. That's never going to be convincing. I think that's the main flaw of his videos. So I don't know what y'all think about that. That's my main spiel, bro. I would collab with Mark. I would be down to do some if he's interested. I'm not sure what a game is where I could like offer a unique perspective, to be honest, but the thing is, like, when I make a video and I'm collabing with somebody, I would want to invite somebody who's like an expert on a game. I don't know if I'm an expert in any game, unfortunately. So, oh, you know what, Crazy Taxi? You know what, I feel like I am the one YouTube guy who does game analysis and who plays Crazy Taxi. Honestly, Lucario, that'd be fire, yeah. I would consult you. No, I'm not a Star Fox expert. No. I'm very average. But I feel like Crazy Taxi is like kind of uncharted territory, you know? In the analysis sphere. Obviously, there's way better players, but yeah. Okay. That's my Electric Underground spiel. I guess the vibe that I got from what Celia told me is that Mark is not very responsive to feedback. So, I don't know. I'd be curious to see what he thinks if he sees this. So let me know in the comments. Okay. That's the video. Let's get into the Star Fox tier list. I actually haven't looked at the template. The Blader proxy, so true. See, that's the thing. I'm not of the opinion. Again, if we're taking push and pull as the metric, kind of, I'm like, I feel like Rainworld has enough push and pull. Has enough of it. At some point, you just gotta be happy. At some point, you gotta accept, okay, I'm playing a single player game, bro. That's sort of my thing. The Blader is so fun. Okay, can I just call a Blader? Blader, I love you, right? I got a little bit into your podcast that you released the other day. I think yesterday. And it's like, bro, you're like specifically saying, oh, I have refined taste, right? That's the exact wording they use. It's like, bro, I've never seen you play anything that's not a shooter or a beat 'em up. Like, does he play any multiplayer games? I don't think so. And I feel like, I don't know, dude. I feel like you have a way to go. You know, be a little more humble, bro. Be a little more humble. Like, play a game that doesn't have combat. You know, play Crazy Taxi or Tetris. Like, in terms of, if we're being fucking real, like Tetris Grandmaster mogs every game that Blader plays. In terms of like depth or whatever. Or challenge. Yeah, how can you say, oh, I have such refined taste, when all you're playing is beat 'em ups and shooters? Hearing the arcade SCG sphere about talking about Breath of the Wild gives me anxiety. It's so true. This is not a dunk on Blader. Blader, you're fine. I love you. I'm just saying, it's very funny. I would never say I have refined taste. Yeah, I would never say that. And I think I have much more refined taste than Blader. Oh my god. Super Monkey Ball, hell yeah, bro. He's obviously lurking, chat. Maybe. It's possible. My policy is like, I'm not going to say anything that would be ashamed of if they heard it, yeah. So, if he hears it, that's totally within my expectation, yeah. Yeah, Lucario, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Okay, let's get into the Star Fox tier list. Hello, YouTube. Say hello, YouTube, in the chat if you want to be in the video. Okay, it's been a couple weeks. Star Fox. Oh wow, I forgot one of my. Hang on. We're a couple weeks removed from the Star Fox 64 remake. Yes, sir. And I've implied here a couple times that I don't hate it. I don't hate the remake. I'm not gonna relitigate the story like a billion times, but y'all know at this point, yeah, I was not looking forward to the remake, and that kind of pleasantly surprised me. So I figure, with any big long-running series, when there's a new game, you gotta make tier list. You gotta figure out, okay, what is the power ranking now? What does it look like? So figure that out we shall. I went on Tier Maker and they got a little template for me. Yes, sir. We're doing it. I recently gave every game in the series another spin. Except Guard, actually. Oh my god. Wait. I still have not played Star Wars Guard. Hang on. I have it. I have it here. Star Wars Guard. But I've never played it, so let's just make it here. Actually, let's say I don't care. I like that. Nice. Our first placement. Okay. Other than Star Fox Guard, we'll go through it in release order. I haven't played all the games extensively, especially recently, but I think I've played enough to make a comfortable little rating. Starlink isn't on this tier list, but it is extremely comfortably the worst game of all these games. Starlink does seem really bad. I have played a little bit. I got the whole bundle with the R-Wing from my ex-girlfriend. And now she's my ex-girlfriend. So, let's get into it. Okay, Star Fox 1. Now, started the series, obviously legendary as a showcase for 3D graphics on hardware that was not designed for it whatsoever. And the frame rate kind of is the elephant in the room. It's a little hard to stomach these days. And there's a bunch of ways to hack this game to like sort of run at 60 FPS or 30 FPS. And none of them that I tried feel quite right. It doesn't really quite work. You can like overclock your emulator and then that will make it run at a higher frame rate, but also faster. So that is kind of my big wide whale. I wish there was a proper 60 FPS version. However, I do think this is still a genuinely interesting game. The thing I talked about mainly in my Star Fox analysis for 64, this one, where I play through the whole game and I commentate over the whole game to like analyze the game design and like also talk about a little bit of strategy and that sort of shit. One of the things I point out is like, okay, the main feature of a game like 64 is its density and its kind of opaque routing. We'll get into that when we talk about 64. This is much more simple. This is much more straightforward. The scoring system, for example, is very basic. It purely manifests as a percentage, right? The percentage of enemies killed. I swear to God, I'm pretty sure you can like miss enemies and still get 100%. I'm not sure what's up with that. So it's probably even a little more lenient than you think, but like, you can tell just from that, okay, it is sort of intended for you to just hit everybody to the best of your ability, right? Now I think what's really compelling about this game, and you really see this instantly with the Corneria stage. Obviously, on such a limited hardware, they had to decide, okay, we can't really fill the screen with enemies the same way we can in a 2D shmup. Especially, like, the Super Nintendo already was, like, kind of slow compared to the Mega Drive. So how do we leverage this gameplay style? Because you have to imagine the idea of you flying forward and then shit coming at you. That is something that is only possible with this type of 3D technology. The the Super Nintendo didn't even have sprite scaling, right? It obviously has the Mode 7 effect, where you can take a single layer and like rotate it and scale it and do all the funky shit. You have the world map in Final Fantasy VI that uses it. You have the racetrack and like a bunch of racing games like Mario Kart, F-Zero, and that's how they sort of give you the illusion of like 3D movement. But then the actual sprites were not able to scale until the Super FX chip, right? Which this game uses. So you'll have moments later. Let's see. Yeah, there's like meteorites coming at you, and those are just 2D sprites, right? So clearly, even just from, if you imagine every enemy could be a 2D sprite, and still this would need this hardware, right? This gameplay style wasn't possible before this hardware advancement. So in that sense, I really respect the game. But then also they said, okay, you know what? We're going to make this like an obstacle course game. We're going to pack a lot of the levels with these little obstacles for you to avoid. And that gives you this like really nice mix of this like Nintendo-y escalating challenge, this very fast-paced, very pick-up-and-play, and then with a couple of enemies kind of dotted in. So I think for what it is still pretty cool and pretty unique. I think there's also another thing that is like really strongly established in this game for, as an element that will be relevant in the rest of the series as well, is the fact that your shots are 3D projectiles, right? They're 3D projectiles physically moving through space. Now there was Macaroni Salad says in chat, the lack of a reticle kind of sucks. I mean, personally, I don't really mind it. You get used to it. The thing is that in later Star Fox games, you have a reticle, but the reticle doesn't show the point of impact. It shows the path of your shot. And that is really important, right? That these games do challenge you to like draw the path in your head to some extent, and to really account for the enemy's movement and the movement of your shot and the movement of the R-Wing as well. The fact that that idea was already present in this game is pretty cool, and that still makes it very unique. So, honestly, I do think the frame rate is a significant flaw, I'm not gonna lie, and like, it is a little simple, but it is very, very solid. What? Hang on. There you go. Okay, that's why I would give Star Fox a very solid B tier. That's what I'm kind of feeling. Okay, Star Fox 2. Obviously, if we want to be like really cute about it, we could say, well, actually, this wasn't released until like after Zero, because it was on the SNES Classic Mini. Obviously, this was originally a canceled game. This is there's the Super FX chip, and then there was the Super FX 2 chip that Star Fox 2 runs on, that also Yoshi's Island runs on, and also Doom, I think, as well, on the Super Nintendo. Significantly more powerful, significantly more capable, and they go for this crazy gimmick, or not gimmick, they go for this crazy gameplay shift in that this is the game to introduce all-range mode, which we all know and love from 64, of course. But then calling it a mode is maybe not accurate, because guess what? It's the entire game. The entire game is all-range. It's free flying through space at moving targets. And Dylan, that's a great point. I feel like every Star Fox game after has a little bit of Star Fox 2 in it, yeah. In some capacity, yes. This is a much faster paced game immediately. just in terms of like the frame rate, right? The game just runs much more solidly than Star Fox 1 most of the time, I would say. So you feel the hardware upgrade in that. You have these like big towering enemies at a couple points. Now obviously I've advocated for all range as like a concept in my Star Fox 64 commentary. However, I will say it is very common that you will like spawn into a little fight and it's like the least fucking substantial thing ever, you know? It's definitely not as tightly scripted and as tightly designed as something like Star Fox 1, right? It doesn't quite have that like exciting pacing and that like really intentional escalation. That's my crackpot theory. That is my crackpot fucking theory. I think Valiant Studios, they will make a game called Star Fox 2, and then it will be like loosely inspired by the existing Star Fox 2. I feel like it's not going to be a straight remake, it's sort of going to be a weird amalgamation, right? I think that's what they're doing. Mark my fucking words. I think that's so... If they do that, that's so smart. Okay. Now I just said, okay, you will spawn into like a battle, blah, blah, because the entire game is now connected by this like space map. It has this weird strategy component to it. Where, okay, let me show you. You got the mothership, you got the planet of Corneria, you got the other planets that the mothership can kind of warp to. You have the enemy base, and you have all these enemy outposts that will send fighters out to Corneria to attack it. And you just gotta intercept the shit and protect Corneria, and then bit by bit, like, take out the enemy fleets. And then eventually that will unlock the finale, right? And the really crazy thing, like, at first it seems like kind of, okay, like, I just intercept the shit, I start a all-range fight, whatever, who cares? The thing that's really smart, and I'm kind of shocked that they thought of that, and it's even more shocking because, like, there's games later there's one game specifically that, like, really takes after this, and they did not do it as well, in my opinion. Is that when you're in the fight, when you're in the all-range section, guess what? The simulation on the map is still running. It's still continuing. So all the enemy ships that are coming toward Corneria, they're still moving toward it. I'm not exactly sure how the game is calculating it. But you can just fucking take forever, right? And you do have to, when you start a fight, you have to kind of consider, okay, where are all the other enemies on the map? That, like, as simple as, and kind of insubstantial as a lot of the fights are, that ties everything together in such a beautiful way that I was really, really impressed with. I kind of forgot that the game was like this. And I thought, you know what, this is like a shockingly well thought out idea. And like it does have the weird like little fantasy of like, okay, you turn into the chicken walker and then you go inside like enemy bases. See, there you go. And then it's like you're kind of playing like a Doom level. Like it's kind of crazy. The controls as well are like shockingly modern. Where okay, you strafe around with the D-pad, and then you rotate left and right with the L and R buttons. And it basically plays like a twin-stick modern kind of shooter, yeah? And the idea of, like, I'm walking around in this fucking 3D world, and I can go to, like, a wall, and it's, like, physically there. On a Super Nintendo, that is sort of crazy. Like, that is sort of nuts, and I find that so charming. Like, do I wish there was more substantial kind of combat and tighter sort of level design? Yes. Macaroni style? No, I don't. I wouldn't agree with that. I think Zero is just a 64 sequel. Yeah. It doesn't have that much to do with Star Wars 2. It takes a couple ideas, but like not this like big strategy component really, which I think is the defining feature of this game for sure. Like honestly, there's also this I think the way the way the game approaches permadeath. Yeah, Ziggy, that's exactly hi, by the way. Command is like the spiritual sequel to this. The way this game approaches the permadeath idea is like very interesting because like you have two crew members. You have the leader and the the wingman. And you can swap between them, and they have their own health bar each. And when the health bar is depleted, they're cooked, right? So you have 2 health bars that you can kind of keep afloat with. But honestly, I played this on hard mode the other day, and it was like kind of tough. Like I actually wiped on it. I didn't try it again after that. I need to give it another shot. You unlock expert mode when you manage to get to the end without Corneria getting hit at all, which is kind of cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing it again. Yeah. I didn't quite grok the fact that you can like refill your health at the base. So that was one big thing that was missing, but I'm excited to like kind of route it and like develop the strategy. Like it is genuinely a pretty cool game. Legitimately one of the hardest things to do in Star Wars. Damn, okay. See, that's the thing. Again, the combat seems kind of insubstantial, but the strategy component I think does make up for a little bit. I think there is enough to chew on that it's not just a fucking baby game that like plays itself. And you have the Star Wolf fights, the charge shot. Dude, the charge shot feels really good in this game. Like you get this. I don't know if I'm gonna find good footage of it, but this is also the game that introduces the charge shot, right? You charge it up, you let go, and then it's like this big knockback kind of explosion. It's pretty sick. The strategy and time limit is what papers over the simplistic levels and areas. That's exactly it. So, honestly, I'm also feeling a solid B tier on this one. I would put it like... I think I would put it below Star Fox 1. Star Fox 1 is a little more to my taste. But honestly, I could see the argument for this being a little higher. Okay. Star Fox 64, obviously the big fucking daddy. Like, come on. We ain't gotta talk about it. It also technically has 6 degrees of freedom. What exactly is 6 degrees of freedom? Isn't 6 degrees of freedom like you can also rotate? Can you rotate like that? I didn't know you could. I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of crazy. I need to play like, I mean, Descent is like the original Descent game. And then there was like Forsaken. And then there was the recent one. What the fuck was it called? Ugh, I can't fucking type. Spiritual sequel. Overload. I need to play that shit. Yeah, so for those who don't know, they shelved Star Fox 2 because the N64 was already, like, so close. And they were like, do we really want to, like, do, like, this kind of weird attempt at 3D on this, like, console not equipped for it? And, like, it's, like, sort of a combo of, like, okay, either this looks shitty compared to the N64, or it makes the N64 look shitty. I'm not sure exactly what they were thinking, but it's very interesting. Yeah. So Star Fox 64, obviously the big fucking daddy. The main thing about it is the density, right? That's the main... The density plus the fact that they consolidated Star Fox into like this very cohesive arcade experience. Where obviously, famously, you have the route system where across a single playthrough, you have multiple sort of branching paths that you decide between, blah, blah, blah. But then the levels themselves, that's really where it comes together, right? Where, okay, it's the direct contrast to Star Fox 1. Where, okay, in Star Fox 1, they had a sort of number of enemies and they kind of expected you to get all of them. Here it's, okay, we're gonna throw way more enemies at you than is realistic for you to hit at all. Dude, I'm not playing that well, actually. I'm still learning the ropes. Oh my god. Shout out to B-Mask. No hate to B-Mask. Anyway. It makes the routing of the levels so opaque and so so complex, right? There's so many. See, this is a perfect example, right? I'm flying all the way to the right, all the way to the left, and all the way to the right, and like this desperately, okay, can I just get this one more guy, right? That's the entire game. Like constantly doing these weird fucking maneuvers to eke out one more hit. And especially because it's not even just, okay, how do I hit more enemies, but also, can I get more points out of a single enemy by doing the splash damage trick, right? Yeah, this was bad. Like, I would do this way better now. Just obviously insanely polished game, just inherently so fucking fun to play. Absolute fucking masterpiece. One of my favorite games on that 64. Peak. Enough said. Obviously the blueprint for the series for a reason. Every time Assault gets called the only sequel to 64 and Angel loses its wings. I'll have some thoughts about that. Okay. So, okay, Adventures. This game fucking sucks. Oh my god, it's so bad. Oh my god, this game's so fucking bad. Holy shit. I played, like, recently when I played it, that was the most I had ever played it. I played, like, a good bit into the first, like, ice area. And I think you might be tempted to say, well, it's not a real Star Fox game, but it's, like, pretty good Zelda combo. Like, bro, this game is fucking, as the Lucario says, doo-doo dog shit, completely on its own merits. This game might have the worst, like, melee combat system I've ever experienced in the game. It is remarkable. You have the staff, you pull it out when you press the A button. When you do so, Fox will automatically lock onto I think the nearest enemy. Okay, you have a little nice beach area, you know, I like beaches. I like day and night cycles. I mean, the graphics in this game are incredible, right? Technically, this game was like a fucking marvel. You pull out the fucking staff. Fox hard locks onto the nearest enemy, and there's no way to switch the lock on target. There's absolutely no way, and it gets to the point, and I was experimenting with this. Imagine you have like a crowd of enemies, right? I was trying to see, okay, you know what? I'm locked onto one guy. Let's see if I can, like, redirect my, like, facing to hit a guy that I'm not logged onto, and then see how the game reacts to that, right? That was sort of my idea. I think this is the first combat encounter of the game. And what happens is that they will just sort of run away from you so that you don't do that. You can hit multiple enemies, like there is like actual real hitboxes. But they designed the AI in a way where to like specifically force these weird 1v1 scenarios. It is so fucking funny. This game is so nothing mechanically. It is like the most British video game ever made. It is British game design. It is, I go to one spot, I pick up one thing, and then I go to the other spot, and then I use the thing. It is like super instanced, stiff, segmented, not interactive. God, it's so bad. It's so bad. Oh my god. Euroshmup for I haven't seen Falco actually in Adventures. I know he shows up at the very end. What does it look like? Played this in 5th grade and remember farming money to buy everything the shop owner had to offer. Dude, oh my god, this game has like the worst shop I've ever experienced. It is like unnecessarily fucking huge and winding. Like you go down this cave and it has like these labyrinthian paths. Like I want to buy a fucking health item and I have to go down 8 fucking corridors. It is insane. Why is it so spacious? I'm sure there's like a loading fucking reason or something. Wait. Oh, this was the first encounter. Wait, Andros is in Adventures? That's funny. Look at this shit. See, all the enemies, they run away. They know this combat system is fucking dog shit. So they specifically designed it to like make it the least frustrating it can be, right? That's crazy. Yeah, bro, I don't... Guys, this is Aura. I don't know. Oh my god, it's like so slow. The shop is so slow. It's so slow. I actually beat this game. You would not believe how this game matters to someone who knows that quality. It's like, it starts so bad already. Oh my god. Falco tier list. I see the vision. Okay, that's enough of fucking adventures. Oh my god. Okay, Assault. I recently played a little bit of this one, on a very chaotic stream. And I played a little more after that. I was not too into it during the stream, right? I was like, this is like whatever. I'm not gonna lie. The more I play Assault, the less I hate it. I did abjectly hate it previously. I was like, okay, this is like a fucking insult to Star Fox as a concept. And I see, I hate the Star Fox Assault resurgence. I hate that like people are so nice to it now and like, it's the only Star Fox sequel. Shut the fuck up. No. The game does not deserve the reevaluation, right? It's not that good. However, it's also not that bad. It is kind of like comfy, Gen 6 mid, you know? I did, in my recent session, I did get a much better handle on, for example, the Landmaster controls, right? I realized, okay, strafing is just not something you should do on this thing. Oh, why the fuck are you back? Why are you back as soon as I say Assault? Holy fuck. Matt, I want to say the ground levels are the best part of the game. The R-Wing levels are just fucking soup. They're just so bland and slow and missing all the intricate sort of design that Star Fox 64 had, right? Like, it goes back to like, okay, enemies slowly come at you in these very linear kind of formations. There's no real way to score better or worse. It's just very linear and simple in that way. And it just doesn't have the polish of something like 64. And I mean, that sense of like the lack of polish that persists to the ground stuff. However, at least like, okay, you're moving pretty fast, you're moving between different targets, you're gonna pick up different weapons, blah, blah, blah. You get like a moment later where you're like on rails, you're like on Falco's R-Wing, I think, and you're shooting at shit in this like cityscape. It's like kind of cool. It's like sort of shitty Halo. And I wasn't once I accepted that, I wasn't too mad at it. I was like, you know what, this is like a comfy like 5 out of 10 or whatever. You can tell what someone values based on how they feel about Assault having only 3. Oh my god. So fucking true. Yeah, that's the thing. The multiplayer was the main thing, for sure. Assault on the surface feels like a future blueprint, but has absolutely nothing else for single player. The thing is, I think people are really attached to the idea of like, okay, I should leave the R-Wing and run around as Fox McCloud, and that'd be cool, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like... to me, 64 is like, okay, this is what Star Fox is as a series, right? To me, that's the blueprint. To me, the blueprint is tight levels, dense scripting, lots of weird little routing choices, you know? I don't think... Like, once you say I'm moving around freely on foot, I just feel like you lose that, you know? And I feel like then you might as well make another franchise. I don't know. Multiplayer is really good. I'm not opposed to Assault's vision because it's as best as a sandbox going between R-Wing. Yeah, I see it. I'm probably gonna finish it. I'm not gonna lie with y'all. I was like hooked enough that I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it, I'll finish it. So Assault, not that bad. Not as bad as I thought. So let's put it in C tier. Okay. Oh yeah, the chaining system is very lenient for sure. Okay, commands. So earlier I implied, yeah, this is like the spiritual sequel to Star Fox 2. It's on the DS. Couple things. The strategy component, you would think sort of makes sense, like naturally on the 3D on the DS, like you're drawing lines between things, blah blah blah. The thing is, what I so, Lucario is going crazy in chat. Dude, Jack, you're so funny. Okay. So, remember what I praised earlier on Star Fox 2, right? That it has this like very strict timer connecting everything. It's the connective tissue between all things. It's the thing that actually creates stakes and that makes things matter. Star Fox Command is like the version of that where that is not the case. Yeah, where that element is completely missing because it is completely turn-based, right? It's you run into an enemy, you start the fight, and then when the fight starts, nothing else matters, right? Everyone moves just turn by turn by turn. It's not dynamic at all. And it's crazy how much the game just completely falls apart immediately based on that. The strategy in this game struck me as much more linear, as much more puzzly almost, where, okay, there was like pretty specific paths that enemies want to take, where you have to intercept them, and if you don't do it in the exact order that like seems kind of right, you're gonna get fucked. And it's not even that punishing, right? It's just that it's really lacking the dynamism of something like Star Fox 2. Now you think, okay, maybe what if the fights themselves are a little more substantial? Nope, they're not. I will say this game looks great and runs great. Like, it's clearly Q Games, they had a nice handle on the hardware. I love sort of the modeling style, I love the visual style. Like, it looks cool. But it is this very, very thin, you just go around these fucking maps and you shoot at little targets and it doesn't even have the fast pace of something like 2, you know? 2 felt much more fast paced than this during combat. And honestly, I'm not that into the touch controls, man. Like, I found them very coarse is the main thing I was sort of got hung up on, where I'm moving. So the way this game works is like you move the stylus on the bottom screen, and that will manipulate the reticle, and then the arm ring will follow the reticle. And then with certain maneuvers, you can like do little tricks. You can are unironically super good. You think? Maybe something's wrong with my setup, but like, it felt like it wasn't really registering fine movements very well, right? I feel like the game was responding always with a little bit of a coarseness and a little bit of a delay. I don't know, dude. There's a mod for this game where you can use the 3DS circle pad, which seems maybe ideal. I don't know, I'll try that, but I don't know, this game just feels so flat and unexciting and uninteresting in a lot of ways, and it's just kind of a shame, because, like, the development history of the game is, like, kind of cute and fascinating, and Damn, okay, you don't like the circle back controls? Wow, okay. Okay. If you say so. Yeah, I have a lot of sympathy for the developers here, but, like, I don't know, the game just didn't really grab me like that. Didn't really grab me. With the 64's route system and the strategy focus of 2, but it's kind of just bad at both. Yeah. It is very repetitive. It is very fucking repetitive. I'm surprised that John is like so positive on it. I don't know. And to me, like the VN shit, I just don't care about it. That's so funny. Yeah, Lucario, I agree with you. It feels very tame due to the controls. Or like as a possible result of the controls. Jack, you need to stop spamming, dude. Like, it's fucking boring at this point, okay? Like, like saying the same thing 100 times is not gonna make it more interesting, bro. Just seriously. Okay, I'm a little conflicted on where to put it, because I don't think it's as bad as Adventures. Should I make another tier? Fuck it, let's make another tier. Should I make another tier? I don't know. Yeah, fuck it. I don't really feel comfortable putting it in the same tier as Adventures, because like it is a whole other level of like doo-doo dog shit. IMO. Okay, let's see. Jack, it doesn't make it. The fact it's true doesn't make it less spammy. Let's see. Ah, fuck, wait. Okay. That looks good to me. That looks good to me, yeah. Okay, cool. So, next to Star Fox 64 3D, I think that one's pretty easy. I think, just based on merit, it's gotta be like an easy S tier. Because they didn't fuck it up, man. It's a pretty authentic recreation of Star Fox 64. They added a substantial new score attack mode where you can select the levels individually, which is great. That was not an option for it, and that was like one of the main things that you would have wanted out of a new 64 version. And they pushed the score requirements higher in the score attack mode. They have extra medals to really get much more juice out of the game, and I think it's pretty awesome. Not much more to say about that than that. I don't know. It's just super fucking solid. I think the only flaw of the game is that it is on 3DS, and it's not a super comfortable way to play it, in my opinion. But I mean, that's not the fault of the game, right? They did the best they could with what they had. I think the art style is really nice. I do love the way this game looks. Yeah, they nailed the fundamentals, and then they added like a couple things that are useful additions. I think the only thing you could really level at it is like, okay, no online multiplayer. Is there on? There's no on. It's only local, right? I'm pretty sure. And no online leaderboards. Yeah. I think you could level that against it, but I think given it's on the 3DS, I feel like it's a like launch year game. No first person mode. Okay, that's kind of. I think given that it's a launch year game, I feel like that's pretty acceptable. That's pretty understandable. I feel like within its means, it did like all the shit you would expect, right? So super fucking solid. I just wish it wasn't on the 3DS. I wish I could play it like. I wish I could emulate this game better. Like the emulation sucks. God. Yeah, I understand the VA stuff and the music and all that shit. I don't really care about that much, so yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I think putting it slightly below 64 is warranted, because obviously You know, it's technically a more fleshed out game than 64 with the score attack mode, with the stage select. However, obviously it owes its entire existence to 64, and it didn't do quite everything you would have wanted. So yeah. Yeah. Next is Star Fox Zero. This one I'm a little conflicted about. Is this an S tier or an A tier? I think this is like genuinely the second best Star Fox game. I could even see this. The thing is, if I put more time into this one, I could see it clearing 64. I could see an argument for Zero over 64, that it's like an even denser and richer game, technically. However, I do think Zero is a little flawed. I think sort of the level selection, the lineup of levels is not completely flawless. I think it has a couple more stinkers than 64 had, for sure. Especially the Zona. I mean, it's so funny that they call it Zonas, right? It has nothing to do with the Zonas from 64, which is one of the most iconic levels and one of the best levels. The Zonas here is just like, ugh. Even with the R-Wing, like, bro, I don't know. There's a lot of like, yeah, you're just dicking around in space, and like, you're just fucking dicking around with random bullshit, blah, blah. I think all this stuff is like kind of cool, but it's overall not as tight of a game as 64. I think the Landmaster shit in this one is pretty cool. And I do really genuinely appreciate how they push the gameplay forward. To me, this is the genuine Star Fox 64 sequel, right? And it's so annoying that Assault is getting all the praise now when this is the game we should be looking at, right? I think also the fact that like, okay, this came out in like 2016. And it didn't have, like, the way they track your scores and your times and all that shit is very detailed and very cool. It's very sick in that way. I like that. They clearly took that seriously. However, there's no online leaderboards, and there was no multiplayer of any sort. So, there was a weird co-op, but, like, come on. I think based on those merits, you could say, yeah, okay, it didn't really absolutely do everything it should have done. So, yeah. This is a really fucking awesome and solid game. But just a little rough around the edges. Expert isn't my preferred way to play 64, but I do think it's missed in a more level select heavy game. Oh, yeah. See, I mean, the Black R-Wing is kind of considered sort of a expert spin. I've seen people kind of make the argument. I haven't played with the Black R-Wing that much, to be honest, so... Dude, it would be so sick if they ported this game to the Switch. Like, come on, man. It's just way stronger, though. Okay. Makes sense. Star Fox is one of the most LARPed franchises ever. Barely anyone played Zero, let alone Star Fox games, so most people just listen to YouTubers. So true. Co-op is actually legitimately good. Okay. I do think it's good. Like, you can tell kind of the platinum flavor of this game, and that they really leaned into the stages being sort of their own distinct entities. And bro, the meta requirements of this game are fucking tough. Like, they kind of cooked on that. I don't know, this is a sick game. I love this game. Yeah, I think if the arcade mode was tighter, I would be more convinced for an S tier, but like as it is, it's just a little too bloated. But still, it's a great game. It's a great fun game. So, oops. Let's put it in A tier. However, okay, let's put it in A tier. Okay, the remake. Here's the thing. We've determined that 64 is the S tier Star Fox game. We've determined that 64 3D is an S tier remake. How about this remake? I feel like now the visual style you can kind of have your mixed opinions on. I kind of got used to it. I'm not super into it. I like the 3D style more. but it's fine. The most impressive thing about it is that they didn't fuck it up. They did not fuck up the gameplay. It's a pretty authentic recreation of Star Fox 64. I'm not mad at this game. It's very easy to recommend as a way to play Star Fox 64. I want to say, as and yeah, Lucario is saying it does have a lot of changes. It does play kind of differently, but like it's all like kind of subtle shit, you know? It is a distinctly different game, quote unquote, but also not so different where I'm like, okay, this drastically changes my opinion on the game, you know? Does that make sense? Yeah. My main gripe with this game is like all the shit that they didn't do and the fact that they de-emphasized like high score tracking, all that shit so much. It is faster, right? It is faster. Yeah. Dude, I got the all medals on expert so quickly. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if it was... I mean, people are telling me, yes, it's because you just did it in 64, you know? But I don't know. I'm convinced this is definitely easier. Which I'm not that mad about, right? I feel like, well, it's a different game, so whatever. They made the laser speed super slow. Okay. Oh yeah, the challenges they cooked on that. I do love the challenges. I think that really warrants a high placement. The thing about it is that, number one, they only track your highest score. Which I know that's like kind of a dumb thing to like really care about, but like I feel like in a game sort of in the arcade spirit, it is kind of crazy that there's no extensive score tracking anymore. There's no real leaderboard, even locally, and there's no online leaderboard, which is crazy. I feel like you finally had the opportunity. Okay, you have this console that is very popular, that has a very frictionless kind of online system, a game with online multiplayer as well, right? You made this like extra multiplayer mode for it to take advantage of the fact that it's finally online. And you didn't think to add an online leaderboard. Like, imagine how fucking motivating it would be if I saw, you know, on my friends list, I see Lucario, and he's like mogging me in all the stages. I'm like, damn, I gotta hop back in, you know, I gotta lock in. Wouldn't that be so sick? That's such an insane missed opportunity. I don't understand why that's not something they did. Kirby Arrows also has no online leaderboards for time. That's so sick. Well, Shrine, I mean, this is a closed ecosystem. This is Switch, dude. Like, and also you could handle it like something like Devil Daggers, where the leaderboard also includes the replays, right? If you had like a robust replay system, that'd be another thing that should have, I think, been in the game. And then you can instantly see how other people did it. I feel like that'd be so sick. And the fact... Sorry. I feel like that is, like, by far the biggest missed opportunity of this game. The other big thing is the way they handle, like, lives and permadeath. It is insane that they made a big deal. So, number one, right? If you run out of lives in normal mode, you no longer have to restart. I think it never happened to me, so I don't know exactly how it works, but I think you just restart the current level. Yeah, Ozzy, I see what you're saying. Now, in the marketing, they made a big deal of the fact that on expert mode, the life system is restored, right? Where, okay, if you lose all the lives, you gotta start again from the beginning, right? Your save is wiped. Or your progress is wiped, I should say. On this playthrough. However, you can simply restart from checkpoint through the pause menu with no consequence, or restart the level, right? Yeah, exactly, Ziggy. That is how it worked in the original, right? If you restart the level, you use the fucking extend, and they specifically got rid of that. And I'm like, bro, I thought you got the assignment, and you kind of didn't a little bit. So that's. I mean, the thing is, I think at most of our level of play, right? If you're in this chat, you're probably good enough that you're never going to run out of lives anyway, right? So, does it really matter? No, but like, I feel like for the integrity of the experience and like, especially if you're like remaking a game, you know? If you're trying to honor the original game, I feel like that is kind of a big blunder. So, Oh yeah. You retain the upgrades. Bro, oh my God. So I feel like it is close enough to 64 where I'm like, yeah, this is like, this should count as like an S tier video game, just generally, right? However, as a remake, if I'm judging it kind of harshly, I feel like they made too many bad decisions and like left too many opportunities kind of unutilized for me to put in S tier, so I put it below 0. That's my tier list. This looks pretty good to me. This looks right. What do y'all think? Yeah, the Aqua Strange is good. That is good. Yeah, I think my crackpot theory about Star Fox 2 Remake, that makes so much sense. I feel like they're gonna do it. I feel like it has to happen. There is a rumor that there is a second Star Fox game in development, and that one is more open worldish, I guess. Star Fox guard should be True Last, yeah. Star Fox open world in development. I don't know. When the remake was first rumored, or sorry, when the remake was originally rumored, people were saying, "Oh, it's a classic Star Fox." All the leakers, they apparently didn't know that it is a fucking remake of 64, which immediately was obviously way less exciting. But then at the same time, I heard there's another Star Fox game in development that's like completely original, and that is more modern. So I'm very scared about that. I don't know where that's gonna go. We'll see. Ugh. Okay, y'all. I'm cutting the video here. Thank y'all for the great stream. I think, bro, my throat is very sore. I should go to bed soon. There's some footage of Sector X and CEO. This is new. Oh my god. I heard the game's just bigger budget, no clue yourself. I heard it was like more exploratory or something. Which, I don't know. I don't know, dude. Very, very worrisome. Exploration swap. Maddie, thank you. Trust your instincts. I'm gonna get on some melatonin tonight. I hope that helps me. Dude, I could not sleep at all last night. Oh my god, it was insane. Okay. Bro, my throat is so fucking sore. Guys, I saw some cool just now in the server. I saw some cool art from our friend Dan in the server. Join the Discord if you haven't yet. It's discord.ziadbra.com. Discord, there you go. If you're not in there yet, join the Discord. It's a fun time. I'm gonna try to be back on Monday. I guess, see, by Monday, I'm gonna be on my antibiotic treatment, so I don't know how that's gonna go. But I'll probably be back. I'll probably stream on Monday as well. So yeah, my friend Kalo, he keeps telling me about Spike Up Battle Street. He keeps telling me to hop on. So maybe I'll do that for potential man Monday. We'll see. Thank you, Ozzy. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you so, man. Yeah, I'll update y'all. I'll let y'all know. Okay. I'm heading out. bye-bye. I'm gonna work on videos. I'm gonna do some cool stuff. It's gonna be really sick. Thank you, Lucario. Thank you, Ziggy. Okay. Bye-bye. 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 I'm gonna press the button. Bye-bye, Dragon. Bye-bye.